Hello and welcome to Keep a Vegan. My name is only 3 characters long and today we're talking about... Really? Is there nothing we can... Oh, her too? Damn it. Yesterday evening, United States President Donald Trump, pictured here giving a speech, took to the airwaves to announce that the US will be pulling out of the Paris Accord. Let's take a quick backtrack. Last month, the world's most disappointing Avengers lineup met in Italy to discuss climate change amongst other issues, where everyone confirmed their commitment to the Paris Accord targets to combat climate change, aside from Trump, who spent his time fighting his way to the front of photograph opportunities and using a golf cart instead of walking, because, like climate change, walking is a myth manufactured by the Chinese to compete with the US mobility scooter industry. Following the meetings, Trump said that he was going to go home and make a decision after the summit, presumably because the Skype connection with Moscow wasn't very good at the hotel. In preparation for yesterday's news, the EU and China have announced they will be working together to get clean energy rolled out across the world. The UK? Well, who knows? May, or the woman who's not for turning up, has claimed to be serious about fighting climate change, but this is a woman who U-turns so often it's like watching Derek Zoolander stuck on a lazy Susan. The BBC live debate between the party leaders was the night before, though May didn't show up, citing the Brexit negotiations as being more important. Such a pain that someone would selfishly go and organise an election to take place right now. In the debate, although Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn came out as the undeniable winner of the evening, Tim Farron's closing remarks notwithstanding, you beautiful ginger legend, Caroline Lucas of the Green Party came out as a surprise tour de force for many, especially when the elephant in the room showed up. Good thing May wasn't there because she's not exactly being a friend to the elephants right now. Although in this case the elephant is Trump, so it's a good thing. I've crossed the streams with my own metaphor here, I'm bailing out before it gains sentience. Climate change has become increasingly important to the average consumer of the UK, largely because they're starting to get sick of the floodwaters ruining the carpet. So why are you talking about it? You already did an episode ranting about this stuff that one time. Zzz. Well, first off, the issue of climate change directly affects me and my well-being, given that I live on this planet. But also it affects everyone else as well. If you don't care about climate change, your survival instincts aren't working and you are defective. Please report to your nearest computer repair shop as you are clearly malfunctioning. If you are sick of climate change being denied, if you hate that these big decisions that affect all of us are being made by a toddler, and where is Leedsome? Is she, should we still be looking? Oh, there she is, she's trying local cheeses. Our efforts to fight climate change at the governmental level focus on transportation and fossil fuels. These are the biggest polluters, so these are the ones we go for, naturally. Stop them, stem the tide, right? Well, no. 51% of greenhouse gases come from the meat and dairy industries. 51%. That's crazy. Is that the food you eat makes that much difference? Why aren't we talking about, money. It makes too much money to stop eating meat and dairy, which is why the fact that meat and dairy are hugely responsible for most of the chronic diseases that we see in the world, and the plight of the animals is being ignored. It's money. I'm glad we sorted that out. Incidentally, transportation only makes up around 15% of greenhouse gases. That's all transportation, including planes and boats and shit. Livestock dumps, in some cases literally, tons of carbon dioxide, methane, which is 72 times better at being a dick to the environment than CO2, and nitrous oxide, which has 289 times the dick potential of CO2 into the atmosphere. 73% of nitrous oxide comes from livestock. A farm with 2,500 dairy cattle produces as much waste as a city of 411,000 people. Anyone who just titters saying it's cow farts with an inane f***ing grin on their face needs to realise the serious ramifications of this. The planet is heating up at a phenomenal rate, which has been shown to cause severe adverse weather conditions, which you would think a small coastal island country with 90% of floodplains not being good enough to stop floods would maybe pay attention to. In fact, a study here in the UK found that meat eaters were producing around 100% more GHG emissions than vegans. 2,000 calories of meat eater food causes 2.5 times more greenhouse gas emissions than 2,000 calories of vegan food. You could literally cut your greenhouse gas footprint in half just by stopping eating food that has been scientifically proven to be killing you. Greenhouse gases aren't the only problem though. All that agriculture uses a horrific amount of water. If you cut 1 minute off your shower time, you'd save 2 to 3 gallons of water, or around 13 litres. If you choose not to wash your car, you save 65 gallons or just shy of 300 litres. If you cut meat and dairy out of your diet, you'll save 1,000 gallons or 4,500 litres of water every day. Water use? Who cares? There's like 2/3 of the planet is covered with water. It's everywhere. Well, guess what? Most of your water isn't bottled from Highland Springs or scraped out of clouds. That would be way too expensive and not possible. So where does your water come from? The ocean? Screw that, fish fucking it. Most of our water comes from underground aquifers, old reserves of water that are running out. Once those are gone, you're going to have to get used to drinking salt water. It's salty because the fish fucking it. Don't care about water? Well, how about land? The biggest driver for rainforest destruction and land desertification is agriculture. The livestock industry uses 45% of the non-ice land on Earth. 45%! Tropical forests are being destroyed at a rate of 31,000 square miles per year, which is 1/3 the size of the UK. Argentina has lost 66% of its forest, Zimbabwe 85%. In fact, only 15% of the world's rainforest remains. Habitat loss affects 86% of all mammals, 88% of amphibians, and 86% of all birds. Across the planet, to keep up with meat and dairy addiction, miles and miles of natural habitat is being destroyed, and along with it, the animals who live there. Remember that bit in the Michael Jackson Earth Song video where there are like no trees? That's what's happening now. By the way, see that lake there? That's shit. Remember all that shit from before? There it is, collecting in a lake. Guess where a bunch of that chemical and hormone-filled shit ends up? In the rivers and the sea, giving fish reproductive problems and creating oxygen-free dead zones where nothing lives. Half the world's coral is gone, contributing to a mass death of the underwater world. We are fishing to exhaustion with only 5% of the world's tuna and cod remaining and 10% of the world's sharks. Sharks? We don't eat sharks. No, but we do catch 50 million of them every year by accident and dump them back into the water, too injured to survive, along with 650,000 whales, dolphins and seals, with up to 40% of the global fishing catch being waste catch that isn't needed or wanted. As many as 120 billion farmed fish were slaughtered for food in 2010, and again this is the corpses of thinking animals that are not good for our health. If we don't stop eating fish as we have been, there will be no fish left by 2048. Let that sink in. By 2050, before I'm 60 years old, there will be no fish left in the ocean. I'll be telling my grandkids that when I was a boy, there were living fish in the ocean. And they'll be shocked. Even returning to the fossil fuels issue, it takes 8 times more fossil fuel to produce animal food-based protein than an equivalent amount of plant protein. So if you are sick of hearing that we as a species aren't doing enough, if you want to make a difference, go vegan. For the same amount of land it takes to feed a meat eater, you can feed 18 vegans. And as our food is not calorically dense, we eat so much food, like all the time. I'm eating now. As a vegan, you save 5,000 litres of water every day, 30 square feet of forest every day, 18 kilos of grain every day, 9 kilos of CO2 every day, and 1 animal's life every single day. Take the matter into your own hands, vote with your wallet and your choices, and help cripple the industries that are killing our planet. Save the planet, save the animals, save yourself, go vegan. As always, the sources for today's show are on the website linked below. Don't forget to click subscribe, and did you know that Keep a Vegan is not a cult? You can't join it by going to patreon.com, and there are no extra goodies for cult members. Because it's not a cult.